let's assume that your number one insecurity about your physical traits is your hair loss. Let's assume that. I mean, that's safe to assume, right? I mean, if I can make 3 videos a day on hair loss and you'll watch at least one of them, we'd have to assume that it's safe to say that your number one insecurity about your physical traits is your hair loss, or your fear of losing your hair if you haven't lost it yet, or haven't seen those hair loss. If you're hanging on with Norwood too and you're in your early 30s, still though, there's a commitment level to this thing about hair loss, right? So let's assume safely that out of 1,600 people plus, fear of hair loss or the fact that you are losing your hair is your number one insecurity when it comes to your physical traits, okay? So, with that being said, what would be your number 2 insecurity? It could be anything. It could maybe be that your teeth aren't quite as straight. You're not as tall as you wish you were. You're not as muscular as you wish you were. You're too pale. What are some other things? It could just be anything physically at all about you, insecurity-wise, okay? Particularly, let's think of things as they would relate to the same things hair loss would relate to, because, you know, what are the things when it comes to hair loss? You know, what are the same things that we keep hearing that, you know, females won't find you as attractive. You can't run for president. You can't get a job. You'll lose out to the other guy. You just won't feel as good about yourself. You can't replace Tom Cruise in 30 years when he's no longer, you know, a 55-year-old man running away from mummies. You know, all the things that hair loss are going to take away from you and prevent you from being able to do, okay? What about those other physical traits? Let's figure out what's the runner-up? What's number 2? What's the number 2 insecurity you have? Forget about hair loss for a moment. Think about it. Think about something else you could dwell on. Teeth. Maybe your nose is too long or crooked. Mine's crooked. I don't know. Maybe you have a unibrow. Again, maybe your teeth. Let's figure this out. Hello. Let's figure this out. Okay. Other than hair loss, because you can't convince me that other than your hair, that there's nothing else about your physical traits that bothers you. Okay. So in a world where hair loss was not your concern, what would be that other thing? Have you figured it out yet? I've given you nearly 2.5 minutes to figure this out. Now that we've got it figured out and you've said it out loud and you visualized it, let me ask you this question, because I can't assume, I can only ask you. If it weren't for hair loss, would that second thing bother you as much as hair loss? Would it equally hold you back the way that hair loss has held you back? That's what I honestly want to know. It's not like I've got an agenda on this one. I really want to know if you believe that if you didn't have any hair loss to worry about, that other thing would bother you as much. Like, for example, you know, when I was in high school and I was 15, 16, realizing, hey, I'm 5'9", I don't appear to be growing. My friends are 6 feet and beyond, but I'm 5'9". What if I live my whole life being 5'9"? I don't get to grow taller than this like they do. Because, you know, I really haven't grown since 8th grade. Like, since 1995, I haven't really grown, you know. And, you know, it like bothered me so much in high school, and even in college, it bothered me. And then finally it stopped, but I finally accepted, hey, I'm 5'9", that's tall enough. But it bothered me. And that was the thing I obsessed over as far as a physical trait. Yet, at the same time, I was noticing my hairline start to change, but that never bothered me. Just because I knew it was the inevitable. I knew that I'd be losing my hair like most men. At some point, I knew I'd lose enough of my hair to know that, hey, I'm experiencing hair loss. So, that didn't bother me. But the height thing did. And it's funny because finally when I stopped caring about the height thing, that I'm 69 inches tall and I'm not going to get any bigger, when I finally stopped caring about that, then it's like, I guess, it's like, then what do you focus? The thing is, we're always going to have something to focus on. And here's a theory. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Forgive me if I am assuming at this point. I keep saying over and over that this thing about hair loss is ultimately a fundamental issue of insecurity anyway. It's not about hair loss. It's about you not feeling secure in yourself. Just like I talk about how insecure people are the people who are going to be quick to insult others. That's why when people show up in the comment section on my videos and say, you look ugly with that hair, you need to shave it off. Those are insecure people saying that, because in real life, you don't go around insulting people, do you? I mean, but insecurity finds itself as people insult each other. Because secure people like me, I'm never putting anyone down for any reason. I'm looking for ways to build people up. Why? Because I'm already a confident person, and that's what I'm doing in these videos. I'm building up people's confidence because it's low to begin with. I still believe that if we took away hair loss, still so many people that subscribe to my channel would still have this other insecurity. And that's what I'm trying to figure out. It's a theory, yet another theory, that so many of the people subscribing and watching my videos are already insecure. And even if we magically fix the hair thing, we'd still have these other issues, which is why I go back to the fact that show me a balding man who can't, and I'll show you a balding man who can. Now, we might have to fast forward a decade before I'm bald enough, but whatever it is, I can still do it, because that's my thing. Okay, and then maybe say, oh, well, Nick, I'm only 22 and I'm Norwood 5, so you'll never know what it's like. Yeah, but are you still going to be saying that when you're my age? Are you going to be 36 and going through your life thinking, well, now I can't do this or this or this because I'm bald? Is that always going to be you? Is that always going to be your thing? Are you always going to let that get in the way? Because my theory is, even if you fix that problem, and let's say you got to the point where, you know what, I'm just going to shave it off, and then you finally gain confidence in that. Would that still be enough, though, to keep that second thing away from hurting your self-esteem? Oh, well, my nose is too big, it's too crooked, my teeth are crooked, I'm too short, whatever it is. I'm just wondering if this is truly this fundamental issue thing, that even when we take away the number one thing, which is hair loss, that's bothering you physically, is there still number two and number three and number four? Is it the internal issue that I keep saying that it is? If you can truly accept yourself, can you move beyond this whole list? Because do you think I spend time worrying about any of this? And I know it's easy to say, well, Nick, that's different. You're in your mid-30s. I don't know, though. There's guys who will go into their mid-30s and mid-40s and beyond still being insecure, still tearing people down and not building people up, still never really finding peace because they're not happy within. I want to know, am I completely wrong to ask all these questions today?